And so, and what's more important is the unions are supportive of this bill. They're going to lobby for it. We believe it'll be a bipartisan bill. There will be some Republicans voting for this as well. Virtually every Democrat that was here, not everybody was here, but it will support this. It's been much aided by the fact that the House and the Speaker has pushed a bill over here, which is, I think, forced the unions to compromise, and I appreciate the fact that they've done it. It's not easy, because this is voluntarily agreeing to take away money from their members. But it's something that will be very significant, because when this bill is passed, the unions are not going to sue on this bill. They agree with this bill, as opposed to suing on the other bill that is under consideration. If that bill is declared unconstitutional, there's zero savings. We feel that this $46 billion is money that's going to be saved in the next fiscal year, not this one, but the next one, which starts a year from now. We expect we'll have an extra $850 million that we can use to spend on education and human services and higher ed. So that's why it's so significant. We would be aware of the fact that the rating agencies have said, if you have a reform bill, we want to make sure that it's very significant in terms of savings, but also that it's constitutional, and we feel that this is. So I have not yet, we literally were negotiating this bill as of today, or literally today. So I'm going to be meeting with the Speaker and going over this approach with him. Keep in mind, the Speaker and I spent hours and hours at the mansion with the unions last year negotiating a bill using this framework. The Speaker has actually even sponsored a bill himself last year, and had the unions supported it last year, we probably would have passed it. So I'm optimistic. I think the unions have to go out now and explain this approach to their members, to the members of the House and the Senate, both parties, and hopefully we can move forward with a bill that will go a long way towards solving the problem.
Do you know how your savings stack up to the House savings?
Well, our savings is, as I said, we could be anywhere around $46 billion. It could be higher, could be a little bit lower, depending on what choices people take. This bill is not as risky as the bill that the House passed, because the House bill could end up saving $0, and not only saving $0 if the Supreme Court has thrown it out, but also it delays us by a year. We'd have to come back to Springfield, pass another bill, have another year of litigation, and every year that you delay, you lose at least $1 billion. So that's why I think that this is a very strong approach. It's supported by the unions. They're not going to sue us. It's going to save us a substantial amount of money. We're going to start reaping the benefits starting a year from now.
But individual members can still sue, right? If an individual
Anybody can
member-
sue. I'm just saying that it's very important that the unions have individually said that they would definitely sue on a questionable constitutional argument for the bill that's passed out of the House, but on this one they would support it. And so we've done this, by the way. We passed a bill that the union supported for the Water Reclamation District pension. There hasn't been any lawsuits, and because the union supported it. And I think that's very significant.
It was
The
the
Speaker-
Speaker's bill, right?
I sponsored the bill in the Senate. The Speaker sponsored it in the House. Whenever you can get unions to agree on a major pension bill, you should codify it. That's what we said when we passed that bill for the Water Reclamation Districts, and that's what we should do here.
How do you convince the House and the Speaker that consideration has to be part of the final solution?
The Speaker has been working with that concept before. He sponsored a bill. I can't remember the bill number.
Senate Bill 1673.
1673. He sponsored it. So he's not adverse to that. He understands the constitutional arguments. I would once again applaud him for passing the bill he passed over, because I think it focused on the unions, made the unions focus on what we were trying to accomplish here, and I appreciate the sacrifices and the compromises that the unions made in this bill.
Was that part of a grander plan between you and the Speaker to have him put pressure on the unions?
No, I didn't. He told me he was going to use my bill to put that amendment on, but I wasn't part of his negotiations with his caucus. I didn't know what we were going to be able to accomplish with the union, so I didn't involve him in this negotiation, but now we have this agreement, and so now it's time to see if we can reach an agreement between the two houses.
You anticipate you'll take this out of Senate exec on Wednesday, correct?
That's correct, and vote on it on Thursday.
On the floor.
Yes.
Okay.
What
Okay.
happens to Senate Bill 1 for now?
Well, let's first see what happens with this and see what the reaction is to this, and see what the reaction is to first in the Senate and then in the House, and see if folks agree that this is, now that the unions have come up with this major concession, that maybe we can advance on this more constitutionally sound platform.
Do you want to preemptively respond to people who say House has done one thing, Senate's done another, now they can both walk away saying they've done something?
But we're not walking away. This is a Senate bill. We're choosing this to be a Senate bill so that the House, if they want to make some adjustments to it, we're open to it. It's not a take it or leave it situation at all. We know we have to pass a pension reform bill this year. We're the worst funded in the nation. It's affecting our budget. We have to free up money for next fiscal year and fiscal years after, and that's why we have to pass these bills. We know that.
Have you talked to the governor yet about any of this?
The governor's should get credit for pushing pension reform right from the start. And I think he'd be very happy to sign any bill that we can pass out of the General Assembly with the complications that are involved in passing a bill, both the union's opposition and now support, and the Constitution itself. It's very tricky, very difficult to pass this, but I think the governor would sign just about any bill we can pass.
So if this passes in both chambers, you're comfortable spending some of the savings for next fiscal year?
Well, we would have to. I mean, that's what, we've seen a big decline in education funding over the last 5 years. That's something which we're going to have to struggle with for fiscal year 14, the one that's coming up right now. So that's why we're doing this, in my opinion, because we're freeing up money for education over the next 30 years.
Would this be paid 100% after 30 years?
We're keeping the same funding schedule that we have in the law right now, which I think is 90% in 2045. So it's the same schedule we have right now.
And so it levels off in a couple of years anyway, right? So your payments would not be accelerating? Is that part of
Well,
the...
when you save $46 billion over 30 years, there's savings every year, and it just varies. And of course, we're talking about a pension system that's based on actuarial assumptions on how many people are going to, how much money is going to be made in the stock market, and how many people retire, when they retire, and how long they live. These are things which adjust every year. So these are guesstimates based on actuarial assumptions, but we are going to save a significant amount of money, and that's why we're for the bill.
What's the difference between their savings and yours? Is it because they have a more aggressive COLA?
What they're doing is they're unilaterally reducing benefits. We're asking folks to voluntarily reduce their benefits contractually. That's how we get around constitutional provisions. So that's why we don't save as much. But I want to emphasize, we really feel this is constitutional. This is kind of a money that we know is going to be there, whereas the other approach is pretty risky. It could be zero, and that's not something that, and a delay of a year, which is not something we want to accomplish. Okay? Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.